Hello and welcome to InSight. I'm Wendy Brokaw.
And I'm Ross Sutherland.
And today we're going to be talking about Alzheimer's. And it is a devastating disease affecting millions of people nationwide. We have with us some members of the Alzheimer's Network. Welcome, thank you for joining us. We have Stacey Nelson, the Development Director of Alzheimer's Network, and Naomi Tillary, who is a board member, but your day job is working at a memory care facility,
Yes.
right? Thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.
I have to start with a big question. What is Alzheimer's and how is it different from dementia? Who wants to go with that one?
I'll take that. It's a good question, and it's a commonly asked question when people really don't understand. Dementia is simply the umbrella term, and under the umbrella are close to 100 different types of dementia, and Alzheimer's is one of them. Not only is it one of them, but it is the #1 diagnosed form of dementia.
Are there any early warning signs?
There are. On the website you can find for AlzNet, but there are 10 warning signs that people can review if they're concerned about their loved one. They're seeing some changes in their loved one that aren't normal. The day-to-day living is starting to change, and so if they're concerned, those are some things to be looking for. Personality changes, daily living tasks, not being oriented to time or place like maybe they used to. So those are some concerns for sure, and that's probably the time to start talking to a doctor.
And what are the services that you provide for people with Alzheimer's and their caregivers?
Some of the services we provide, we do art workshops for people with Alzheimer's disease to do along with their caregivers. We also do a music therapy program, which is coordinated by a certified music therapist.
A music therapy program.
Yes. And so they kind of get together, they get to sing, they get to even play little instruments. And then for the caregivers, we offer a range of services like a monthly support group. We do educational classes, and then really we offer lots of information and resources as well.
I guess people feel overwhelmed when they suddenly either a family member, or are most people who come to you the caregivers or family members, or the individuals themselves worried about Alzheimer's?
Mostly it's the caregivers and family members. A lot of times those who connect with us are someone whose loved one has just been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and so they just really don't know where to go from there. Yeah, so we also provide a great service called a care navigation, which is where they can come and sit down with us and just get all of their questions answered and all the information they need.
That must be a real help.
Yeah, definitely.
What about those people? Do you offer a service where people can actually, I hate to say it, have their memory tested?
Yeah, we do.
How does that work?
So we offer free memory screenings, and they are done by a trained screener. They're not a diagnosis, but they're a great tool to see how your memory is and if you should follow up with a primary care physician.
Well, we actually went there during one of their art therapy sessions, and I was really touched by it because the joy. They were really enjoying themselves, and they really were getting it. And let's go there.
Okay.
Want to go there?
Yeah.
Great.
I just use my fingernail to move it, like that. Snap it off and you've got a little bit of texture. So when we put it down on it, you can draw on it. There's a squiggle. Did you get it, Tim? Did it work?
Oh, it's really coming up.
Yeah, you can, it's amazing. You can kind of. We're going to make a little nameplate for everybody using some of those techniques we just learned. What you're trying to do is learn how to blend colors, make patterns, and that probably did these dots. But you could do it with a pen too. And then you see this little squiggly line?
Yep.
Done the same way, embossing first. This was drawn on top. I drew that one on top, drew this on top, drew that pattern on top. And then this was the same as this. And you can then go with another pencil on top or just continue doing that pattern over the whole thing. Then just whatever design you want to make your name, you do it. Now you're getting it. Okay. All right. Ooh. Nice, Augie.
That is a great teacher. And she's with the Salem Art Association, right?
Yeah, so yeah, that instructor is, her name is Eileen Cotter Howell.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, she's with the Salem Art Association.
Can you give us some more tips about improving the daily life of people with Alzheimer's besides art and music and some of those other things?
I think remembering where they're at, this is a journey for them, and having an organization that supports that journey emotionally and socially is a way to help someone that is probably caring for that loved one and maybe even the early stages of caring for them. They have to deal with their own emotions through that and their own grieving process, as well as the grieving process that's going to come from the individual with the disease as they start to notice changes within themselves. And so having the support system to help guide them along to next steps, you know, what's the next appropriate step for them? Is it continuing to care for them in their home? Is it having to seek care outside of the home and potentially placing them in a memory care community? It's a big decision. And to know that you have a support like the Alzheimer's Network to help guide you, navigate you through that journey is an amazing, not only is it an amazing thing, it's just it's an honoring position to be in.
Let's decide that instead of going to a care facility, it's appropriate for them to be at home. Can you give us an idea of how you make your home safe and comfortable for someone with Alzheimer's?
Sure. When someone's staying in their home, obviously that's the best thing for them. There's things that they're, all the things that they're familiar with are still around them. As the person progresses, you know, their mobility changes, their personality is changing. So being able to stay ahead of that, as you start to see their mobility changes, maybe you have to create more space in the home so they can navigate through, because they'll start to shuffle and maybe they don't want to have any tripping hazards. And so people who do keep their loved one in the home, they'll make some slight structural changes to accommodate, but for the most part, really it's just about keeping things as normal as you can if you're going to keep them in the home, because really it's about quality of life for them and giving them the best quality of life that they can have.
And do they have good days and bad days, like some kinds of things where they'll be very clear one day and then the next day, you know, so that it isn't just consistent?
Sure, and I wouldn't even say day to day. I would say moment to moment.
Oh,
This is a
wow.
Really?
moment to moment disease.
Yeah.
You know, one moment they could be doing well, having a great conversation with you, and then, you know, 15 minutes, half hour, something triggers them and now they're angry and you don't know why they're angry, or they're sad and you don't know why they're sad. And so truly it's a moment to moment disease process, and it
Okay.
can be up and down.
Stacey, no one is prepared, I think, or is ever prepared for perhaps an inevitable "who are you?" Do you help people through that when the person that they've cared for and loved, maybe a parent, suddenly says, "Who are you?"
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things that we really try to do at our organization is be with the caregivers and family and the person with the disease throughout the entire process, so that we're there to talk to them about when they get to these different points, and offer support and guidance for them for those as well.
How do they get in touch with you online, for example?
Yeah, you can visit our website, of course, which is alznet.org, or always call the office, and the phone number is 503-364-8100.
Can't thank you enough for coming in like this. Learned a lot. I didn't
Yeah.
know a certain number of the things that you were talking about. I think forewarned is forearmed and gives you that sense of being supported all throughout this journey.
Well, and also, what does that mean for me and my family member, as opposed to just sort of a generic article you've read on Alzheimer's, or what
Yeah.
what happens with one person probably is very different than what's going to happen. So there isn't really somebody that you can look at and say, oh, that's what's going to happen.
And
You know?
you're going through it together.
Right.
Yeah. So, well, thank you for your work.
Yes, great approach. Thank you. And thank you for joining us today on InSight.